Well, let's bring in Mark Meirowitz, who is a professor at the State University of New York Maritime College. Mark, welcome. So social media have completely erupted after Donald Trump's mugshot has officially been released. This is the former president of the United States, and he now has a mugshot. So what was behind that procedure to get that release, and does the judge have to sign off on it?
When you say the release, you mean after receiving the mugshot? No, they arranged for him to have the mugshot. His bond was posted, which means they post an amount of money to allow him to be released, and then the case will proceed whenever the case proceeds. One of the defendants is having his case heard on October 23rd, but there are 19 defendants in the case. I wanted to say that, to me, this is a shocking event in the history of American law, to have a president with a mugshot. The liberal media is absolutely exulting with excitement and happiness over this issue, but I don't think, as a matter of society, that this is a happy occasion. And also, it's an indictment and an accusation. It is not a conviction. This has not been proved. And the case that was presented here, this RICO, this racketeer corruption case, is an interesting and questionable case from the point of view of the law. So I'm not so sure that they have proved their case, or that they will prove their case in the court when the time comes.
Well, as you say, it was a real reality check moment for Trump arriving at the Fulton County Jail. So, what happens next, and what restrictions could be imposed on him, if any, pending the trial?
Well, I mean, the same situation. The problem here in the cases is the fact that the judges have been, in some of the cases, putting restrictions on President Trump in terms of what he can say on social media, whether he can, interact with witnesses. It's a very problematic situation. Again, it's a very odd thing, right? You have a Secret Service detail coming to the jail with the President of the United States to be booked and mugshotted. It's a bizarre event. And what it is, and again, I'm not going to the legalities of it, I'm going to the optics of it. What it means is that part of society is all for it. And part of society, if you look at the poll numbers for President Trump, he's about 40% ahead of any other candidate, including DeSantis, in the primary polling. And so it looks like, if everything continues, Trump will be the Republican nominee for the presidency of the United States in 2024. This is a very odd and complex situation for society. Part of society says this is not legitimate. The other part of society says this is legitimate, but it's an indictment, it's an accusation, but it tears the society apart. The RICO case is hinging on the idea that there's some sort of an organized hub, in fact, a continuing unit for a common purpose, which in this case they allege is the overturning of the election. Now, with 19 defendants, and usually this RICO, this racketeer influence corruption, usually was applied to the organized crime. In fact, Rudy Giuliani, who is one of the defendants, he was actually one of the originators of the use of the RICO against organized crime. And in fact, the district attorney here, Fani Willis, used this previously against organized crime and also against gangs, street gangs and drug gangs. But it's never been used in this way to try to prove a continuing unit for a common purpose, as if like a gang or like organized crime, it or operates like a cohesive unit doing one thing. And of course, the law says if you can find two crimes within that unit, you then have a legitimate conviction. So I think it's really a very problematic case, but it's not up to me, it's up to the jury. But the fact that the optics of the president being presented in this way is very, very tricky. Also, he's got 4 indictments, yet he is the leading candidate for the Republican nomination for president. I mean, this is just absolutely bizarre. Not only that, It's unprecedented. We've never had a case like this. Here's a president flying back and forth from courthouse to courthouse. So what is 2024 going to look like? It's going to be Trump going to campaign and going from courthouse to courthouse with these criminal cases. And then you might have a debate between Trump and Biden. Who knows if that's going to happen, because Trump didn't show up at the debate last night among the Republican candidates. So it really throws the American politics into complete and utter confusion. And it really is going to be very hard to unravel.
Well, as you say, Mark, a complete odd situation that's torn society apart. But for now, that's all we have time for. Mark Meirowitz, thank you for joining.